Hello everyone, Paleo Nerd back with another creature profile. For anyone unfamiliar with this series, this is where I pick out a specific prehistoric animal and go over its discovery, classification, appearance, diet, ecosystem, and more. Today's profile will focus on an interesting member of the unique abelosaurids, Rugops. Rugops primus, or first wrinkled face, is a species of abelosaurid known from the Ekar Formation in Niger and possibly the Kemkem beds in Morocco, which date to the Cenomanian of the late Cretaceous, about 100 to 95 million years ago. The generic name refers to the wrinkled texture of the skull, while the specific name refers to it being one of the earliest known abelosaurids chronologically, although it is not actually the first. Rugops was not a particularly large animal, estimated at a length of 4.4 meters or 14.4 feet long, a height of 1.3 meters or over 4 feet tall to shoulder, and weighing about 200 to 410 kilograms or 440 to 900 pounds. Rugops is known mostly from a single partial skull discovered in the Ekar Formation by Hans Larsen in 2000, which was then described by Paul Sereno in 2004. As the first abelosaurid to be described from Africa, Rugops proved to be a significant discovery by showing that Africa was still connected to Gondwana during the Cenomanian. Up until recently, the holotype skull was thought to be the only fossil of Rugops, as maxillae from the Kemkem beds in Morocco have recently been assigned to Rugops, although whether these are from the same species as Rugops primus or if they represent a second species is not known at this time. Rugops has been very consistent in its classification, as it is often listed as the most basal abelosaurid aside from Aeoabellosaurus. It is also possible that Rugops is closely related to other African abelosaurids like Cryptops and Chinonysaurus. The most complete fossil that belongs to Rugops is a partial skull, which is considerably short and thin, much like other abelosaurids. The top of the snout also has 2 rows of 7 holes each, which Sereno suggested could have anchored a display structure like a crest or horns, as the skull seems to have grooves or blood vessels leading into the pits. Another theory is that the pit supported some keratin covering over the face, similar to that of fellow African abelosaurid Cryptops. Without the rest of the body known, everything about Rugops besides the head must be based on more complete relatives. As such, it likely had a long body, relatively short legs, and short vestigial arms characteristic of abelosaurids. When Sereno was originally describing Rugops, he believed that the animal didn't have a very strong bite, and suggested that it was a scavenger, feeding solely on the kills of other predators. However, this is unlikely, as no pure scavengers larger than vultures are known to exist, so Rugops was likely an opportunist, eating whatever could wrap its jaws around. To compensate for its weak bite, Rugops may have used its head like a hatchet to rapidly strike prey, similar to that proposed for Carnotaurus, a fellow abelosaurid also thought to have a weak bite. Rugops likely preyed on animals smaller than itself, like fish, small dinosaurs, and small crocodilomorphs, among others. Of course, it likely would have feasted on the kills of other predators on occasion, but it probably wasn't exclusively a scavenger. Rugops is known from the Ekar Formation in Niger and the Kemkem beds in Morocco, which were very wet and swamp-like during the Cenomanian. Other dinosaurs found there include Carcharodontosaurus, Spinosaurus, and Rabacosaurus, and other animals found there include fish like Onchopriestus, Ceratodus, and Lepidotes, as well as crocodilomorphs like Coprosuchus and Leganosuchus. Similar fauna have also been found in the contemporary Baharia Formation, and while abelosaurid fossils have been found in Baharia, most of them are teeth and are therefore non-diagnostic, while other remains likely belong to abelosaurids distinct from Rugops. Rugops likely went extinct in much the same way as Spinosaurus, which it shared its environment with. As the Cenomanian ended, sea levels started to rise as a result of global warming, flooding many of the swamps that Rugops called home. However, while this event would be the end of the Spinosaurids, abelosaurids would live on and continue to prosper in both Africa and South America, eventually becoming the top predators of both continents. This could mean that Rugops might not have gone extinct after all, but rather it simply evolved into another species or genus. Chinanosaurus, a very large abelosaurid known from Maastrichtian rocks in Morocco, could very well be a descendant of Rugops. Either way, Rugops' family prospered all the way until the very end of the Cretaceous period. Rugops has made some appearances in pop culture, including the Dinosaur King trading card game and arcade game, as well as the documentaries Monsters Resurrected, Planet Dinosaur, and Amazing Dino World, and the comic Age of Reptiles, Ancient Egyptians. It is also kind of in Jurassic World, as it is said to be one of the 900 billion dinosaurs claimed to make up the genome of the Indominus Rex. Exaggerations aside, it really just seems like Universal just kept adding random theropods as part of the Indominus to appease paleontology fans by pretending to include lesser known dinosaurs despite them not actually appearing. The Rugops from Dinosaur King is too big, too heavily built, and it has the typical three-fingered hands of Tetanurans rather than the four-fingered vestigial arms of abelosaurids, which is odd since other abelosaurids do have the correct arm anatomy. The Monsters Resurrected design has the same problem with the arms, and it is also oversized, but I'll go more in depth with that when I analyze Monsters Resurrected. The Planet Dinosaur design is probably the most accurate, although it is depicted as a pure scavenger when it likely hunted live prey as well. Amazing Dino World's depiction has a lot of problems, as it is shown feathered despite preserved evidence that its closest relatives were featherless. It appears to be too big and heavily built, and in the English dubbed version it is identified as Abelosaurus, despite the episode in which it appears being set in Africa 100 million years ago, which fits Rugops, not Abelosaurus, which lived in South America about 15 million years later. My best guess as to why this happened is that in the original Japanese version it was just identified as an abelosaur, and whoever translated it for the English version mistook it for Abelosaurus. That's just my guess though, so I could be wrong. Frankly, I do hope Rugops is featured in more documentaries, maybe even being the focus rather than just being a background character in a documentary about Spinosaurus. That's all for today's profile. Next up will be the How I Would Improve Jurassic Fight Club video, and after that I will finally start the new scientific analysis of Monsters Resurrected with Episode 1, Terror Bird. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and this is Paleo Nerd signing out.